Baby Jessica, the 58-hour nightmare in the well that gripped the world. Imagine a quiet afternoon in a small Texas town, a day so ordinary it almost feels safe. The sun was shining warm, the sky was clear, and the kind of afternoon where nothing bad could ever happen. But on this day, something did. Something so terrifying and strange, it captured the attention of the whole world. This is the story of baby Jessica, Jessica McClure, a toddler who vanished into the earth and was trapped for nearly 3 days in a narrow, dark, abandoned well, only 8 inches wide, 22 feet deep. A place so tight, so unforgiving, that no adult could reach her. It's a story of panic, hope, courage, and the incredible lengths people will go to save a life. The ordinary afternoon that changed everything. It was Wednesday, October 14th, 1987, in Midland, Texas, the kind of town where neighbors know each other's names and the pace of life is slow and steady. The weather was perfect for kids to be outside, warm, sunny, with a gentle breeze. Jessica McClure was 18 months old, a curious, energetic toddler, always moving, always exploring. That day, Jessica was at her Aunt Angela Bradbury's house. Her mom, Reba McClure, was visiting inside while Jessica and a few neighborhood children played in the backyard. The yard was fenced, so it seemed safe enough. But like many older homes, there was an abandoned water well hidden there, a relic from long ago covered by a heavy rock. The well was narrow, only about 8 inches across, that's smaller than the width of a notebook, too small for any adult to fit inside, but just wide enough for a small child who might accidentally fall in. For a while, Jessica played happily, unaware of the danger beneath her feet. Then, in a moment that would change everything, she wandered near the well. Maybe the rock cover had shifted. Maybe she pushed it aside. Whatever happened, Jessica suddenly slipped, fell, headfirst, into the dark, cold shaft below. Her Aunt Angela heard the sickening sound of her fall and screamed for help. The backyard turned from a place of laughter and play to a nightmare. The dark voice from the bottom of the well. Everyone rushed to the well and looked down into the black hole. At first, it was impossible to see anything, but then a faint sound, a tiny voice. Jessica was alive. But she was trapped 22 feet down, wedged so tightly in the shaft that her legs were pushed up above her head. Firefighters and police arrived quickly, but they were powerless to reach her. The well was too narrow for an adult to climb down. They tried lowering ropes, but Jessica was too small, scared, and disoriented to grab onto anything. Her cries echoed up the shaft, muffled and heartbreaking. The rescuers couldn't just pull her up. It would be too dangerous and might cause the well to collapse. They had to find another way. The impossible challenge of the well. This wasn't just any hole in the ground. The well was a unique, terrifying trap, and only 8 inches wide, barely wider than a soda can, and 22 feet deep, enough to cause serious injury or death. And the surrounding earth was a mix of hard rock and loose soil, fragile and ready to crumble. If rescuers made a mistake, the well walls could collapse, burying Jessica completely. So digging had to be careful and precise. The rescue operation kicks off. As news spread, what had been a quiet suburban backyard became a scene of intense activity. Engineers, construction workers, firefighters, paramedics, volunteers all showed up, ready to help. They decided the best option was to dig a new shaft right next to the well, a parallel hole, and then tunnel sideways to reach Jessica. This was a huge engineering task requiring heavy equipment and careful planning. Local oil field workers and miners volunteered their expertise. The ground was unstable, so rescuers shored up the shaft walls with steel casings to prevent cave-ins. Meanwhile, paramedics lowered oxygen, water, and a tiny light down to Jessica. They stayed in contact through a microphone, talking to her, trying to keep her calm. The hours dragged on. The world watches and prays. This wasn't just a local event anymore. The media descended on Midland. Live TV crews broadcast the rescue efforts around the clock. Millions around the world tuned in, holding their breath. Jessica's tiny voice calling out from the dark struck a deep chord. People prayed, hoped, sent messages of support. The story became a symbol of community, resilience, and faith. The clock ticks. Jessica's condition was critical. The well was cold, and she shivered uncontrollably. She was trapped in an awkward position with her arm pinned above her head. Her tiny body was weak from hunger and dehydration. Sometimes she cried. Sometimes she was silent, exhausted, or scared. Doctors worried about hypothermia and shock. The rescuers worked tirelessly, often without sleep. They knew every second counted. The final dangerous tunnel. After nearly 2 days digging down, the team reached the level of the well. Now they had to tunnel horizontally, hand digging through unstable earth. This was the most dangerous part. If the tunnel collapsed, Jessica and the rescuers could be buried alive. They worked inch by inch. The tension was unbearable, but finally they heard Jessica's voice louder, closer. Hope surged. A moment frozen in time. At 7:30 p.m. on October 16th, after 58 hours trapped underground, rescuers broke through. Paramedic Robert O'Donnell reached in and carefully pulled Jessica free. She was dirty, cold, scared, but alive. Her little body was bruised and scratched, but remarkably unharmed. The crowd that had gathered erupted in cheers. The world exhaled. Jessica was rushed to the hospital where she recovered fully. The aftermath. Jessica McClure's survival inspired millions. Her story reminded us how fragile life can be and how strong the human spirit is. Though she lost a toe and bore scars, Jessica grew up healthy. She lived a quiet life, grateful to those who saved her. Her rescue showed the power of community, expertise, and hope against impossible odds. So, what would you do if you were trapped in a hole smaller than a soda can, far from help? Jessica's story is terrifying and inspiring. It's about the unimaginable horrors a child can face and the incredible efforts people will make to save a life. Thanks for listening. If you want more stories like this, hit the like button and subscribe. And as always, stay curious. As always, visit us at readtherealstory.com for all the latest true crime stories and behind-the-scenes insights you won't find anywhere else.